Learning Unit 1. That is an overview of the curriculum. So, if you have noticed, now we have different learning objectives, but I am not going to read the learning objectives anymore because these are already found in the Unit 1, which I have presented to you, no, via the EPI group. Then, next to the learning objectives, you have the setting up. In lesson planning, the setting up actually is equivalent to motivation. So you are supposed to answer this. If you may recall it, no, I think I asked some of you to answer all these questions. Okay? Yeah, okay. Then uh, this is now the lesson proper, no? The first unit or topics that we are going to discuss will be the nature and scope of the curriculum. So this is actually based on the Philippine context. So ideas that will be presented later is actually a product of different researches now conducted by experts and professionals in the field to present to actually to be transformed or transcribed into a book or a module for Filipinos to understand better. So the first topic will be the origin of the word curriculum. So accordingly, curriculum is a Latin word that is correre, meaning to run. So it is implied, therefore, that one of the functions of a curriculum is to provide a template or design which enables your learning to take place. So when you're talking about a curriculum in this aspect, okay, from the Latin correre, no, meaning to run, in this particular slide, it is being, emphasized then that curriculum is evolving. So it keeps on changing. So if you want to learn or to know better, so what you can actually do is to search for more knowledge or to search for a lot of information that will be added up to your being as an individual so that you can be a better professional in the future. So a curriculum can be equated, as I have mentioned, no, to a lesson plan. No? So one of the functions, as mentioned here, provide a template or design which enables learning to take place. Because, if you have a set of plans to be undertaken, you as future teachers, I am your teacher, I prepare this plan to be shared to you so that learning can take place. So another idea of what a curriculum is a listing of subjects. Talking about, okay, you're familiar with the so-called prospectus, no? You have your subjects in the first semester, second semester when you were first year, now you're second year. You also have subjects like, this one of the subjects is Prof Ed 5 or Edoc 5, whatever title it may be, no? So these are subjects actually being taught in school, okay, being taught. So this is what is being referred to as the what of teaching. Or, in a broader sense, total learning experiences of an individual, not only in school, but in society as well. So you're all familiar, no, with the saying that we should not confine our learning only, within the four corners of the classroom. We need to go outside, or we need to actually experience also, no, outside the classroom by, say, for example, in the experimentation or a particular activity like video, no, video capturing videos or taking a video for a kind of report or topic that is assigned to you by your teacher. So that would actually take place outside, no, because it's more easy and comfortable to have your video outside. Because if you are within the classroom only, you are how many, 40 or 38. So it's very the classroom is only very small. So therefore you need a wider space and a place that's also silent that you can record the activity that is assigned to you, no, by your teacher. So these are some of the definitions of curriculum, no. Try to reflect on this. So one here is curriculum is sequence of potential experiences set up in school for the purpose of disciplining children and youth in group ways of thinking and acting. So the sequence of potential experiences, I mean, you're talking about the potential experiences. Actually, these are the opportunities that are actually created in school or created by the school or by the institution. Say, for example, NAST and that of the College of Education. The purpose of which is to discipline children. Because, it is but very basic. If you are a teacher and if you're a future teacher, it is very important that you are a person that is disciplined because our thinking and acting should be in accordance to what the society is expecting of us, or shall we say what the society is expecting from us. So the way we talk, the way we think, it should be in a way that is acceptable by the norms, no? Well, the norms of society. Meaning to say, I'm talking about the positive ways and thinking or acting, no, that we are showing or actually sharing with people in our community. So another thing, structured set of learning outcomes or tasks that educators usually call goals and objectives. If you are familiar with, no, in our college, we have goals and objectives. Okay, when you're going to compare goals from objectives, goals are broad aspect of objectives, no? While as the objectives can be actually classified into specifics, no? Meaning, goals are, a big idea talking about how this plan can be achieved, but it can be actually taken into, little parts by means of specifying it that we call objectives. So curriculum also is the what of teaching. Okay? When you're talking about what of teaching, previous slides actually presents to us about what subjects should be taught by a particular teacher. I myself, because I'm your proof ed teacher, I am actually presenting to you Unit 1 pertaining to the introduction or the overview of our topic, Prof Ed 5, the teacher and the school curriculum. So this actually may refer to, okay, the what of teaching may refer to the subject being taught by your teacher, just like me, and for you to learn. So meaning to say, it actually refers to all the subjects, no? The what of teaching, okay, everything that's included in there. Another thing is a document which describes a structured series of learning objectives and outcomes for a given subject matter area. So when you're talking about structured series of learning objectives and outcomes, in lesson planning, no, the first part of the lesson plan you have there, the learning objectives, right? Followed by part two, that's subject matter or content. Then part three is referring to the lesson proper. And under the lesson proper, you have there the, introduction of the topic, like motivation, or shall we say other term for motivation is setting up activities. Then if you have already conducted a particular lesson, previous lessons, you can usually conduct a review or drill, no, of the past lessons to just to find out if learning really takes place, no, which was shared by the teacher to the students. So the part four of the lesson plan, as we are talking about, is the so-called measurement and evaluation or assessing or evaluation part. So teachers usually assess the learnings of the students from the learning objectives. That's why if you have set objectives, see to it that you are able to deliver what should be learned or what should be acquired by the students. And the outcomes definitely because you are able to deliver what should be taught supposedly to the learners. So you're expecting also that when they will be evaluated in the form of questions or in the form of a quiz or in the form of an examination, expectation of a teacher is for you to all pass, right, or to get a passing score. So learning objectives and outcomes, meaning to say objectives or learning out objectives shall be at par or parallel to the so-called outcomes. Okay. So curriculum includes also a specification of what should be learned. Okay, talking about the what of teaching. Okay, what do you expect to learn in curriculum? Since our topic is this, the teacher and the school curriculum, so it's more on, it's more actually more on what curriculum is, what could be the nature and purposes of the curriculum, what are the types of curriculum, okay, operating in schools, etc. and etc. The what, how it should be taught, talking about the process. So how would a particular teacher be able to deliver the topic? So this is through the use of what? Strategies, approaches, methodologies, no methods, okay, strategies, methods, and approaches. Then talking about the plan for implementing and assessing the learning. Because class, you cannot evaluate what you do not teach, or you cannot actually test a person of something that you're not able to share with or to teach with. Okay, in short, if you are teaching, see to it that all the things that you have that you are expecting to be learned or acquired by your students shall also be taught by you as the teacher or future teacher, and I myself as a teacher. Later on, you have activities, no? Then the activities actually are based from the ideas being presented. So we have numerous definitions of curriculum, no, influenced by modes of thoughts, pedagogies, political and cultural experiences, and there are two different points of view of the curriculum according to the traditional perspective, known also as the essentialist school, and the progressive point of view or the progressive school. So these are actually two different views of what a curriculum is, no, according to them. Let's try to find out, no. This now will fall under the characteristics of the curriculum. So one here is the essentialist. According to them, the curriculum is something rigid, consisting of discipline subjects. When you're talking about the curriculum as something rigid, once implemented, it is already there, and whether you like it or not, it is so difficult to change or it is difficult to amend. And what are these discipline subjects? The discipline subjects are being referred to here are the different subjects that you are learning in school. In the basic education, for example, you have the math, English, science, ARPAN, what else? TLE, or technology and livelihood education, or shall we say HECASI, Geograpia, Civica at Kasaysayan, or the so-called HELE, or Home Economics and Livelihood Education. Okay. For the progressive school, there's a great difference because curriculum is considered to be as something flexible based on areas of interest. So, the idea of progressivism, not talking about curriculum as something flexible. So, a curriculum is actually created or formulated based on areas of interest. Like, for example, like you are under the BSED 2A science majors, right? Or general science majors. So you are in this class because your area of interest is on science. Likewise with other, programs, those who are in the BTLED, those who are in the BSI Ed, those who are in the BID program, those who are in the English program or in the BSED programs, they are there because they are there because they find it interesting to study the program where they are in or where they belong. Okay. Another, uh, for a while, for a while. Okay, under the essentialist, they consider learners as much as the same. So meaning to say, they look at, the learners to be invariably the same. Meaning to say, there is no such thing or there's no such terminologies used as the intelligent ones, the slow learners ones, or the academically challenged ones. That is now the term being referred to for those who are for those learners who are actually poor, no, in learning, academically challenged. So all the learners as much as the same, meaning to say, if one child can do this or one learner can do this, then others should be able to do that as well. Okay? So in that word, or in that case, Since they are considered to be uh, the same, no? It aims to fit the learner into the existing social order. Meaning to say, fitting the learner into the existing social order. This is the expectation of the society from you. So you have to act in accordance to what is expected of you by the society. Talking about what? Talking about, certain directives or orders coming from higher authorities. And thereby maintaining the status quo, right? If everyone follows, okay, everyone follows orders, then the situation or condition is always, peaceful and orderly. Okay. For the progressive, look at that. Learner-centered. For them, they believe that there are no two persons are alike. Talking about individual differences, right? We have, different. We are 38 in this class, but we have different, perspectives in life. And you have different ideas of what life is, or sometimes you have different ideas of how you're going to deal with problems or situations. So, talking about learner-centeredness, okay? Individual differences is being considered. Major motivation for the essentialist is discipline and freedom as an outcome, not a means of education. For the essentialists, according to them, if you want to be free, then you have to behave in accordance to what is being expected of you by the society. Do not violate rules, do not violate policies, do not commit a crime if referring to a particular law in the government. Because if you are able to violate something, what will happen? That will curtail, that would stop in the exercise of your freedom because you will be put into prison, right? Or somehow you will be penalized or given a penalty. Okay? So, freedom is actually an outcome of your behavior, okay? Not a means of education. So, freedom is not actually taught because that is a concept. And that depends on how you're going to preserve that freedom, no, within you. For the progressive, factor motivation is individual achievement because they believe that persons are naturally good. So meaning to say, the moment we were born, if you're going to apply the idea of tabula rasa, we have an impted mind according to that tabula rasa concept. But as we go along the process of, development from infancy to childhood, then pre-adolescence and adolescent stage or adult stage, we underwent series of changes. So our being innate or naturally being naturally good actually also changes. And the progressive people actually are under progressivism. They believe that since persons are naturally good, then we have to look into this goodness all the time. Do not look into the negativities or the negative aspects of that person. Diba? That will be, one way of actually appreciating one's life or one's learning. Okay, approach in essentialist is authoritative. This is what I mentioned a while ago. So this is what is expected of you of society. So whether you like it or not, you have to abide by it and you have to follow it. Authoritative. It's actually similar to being dictatorship. No, it's similar to being a dictator. But for progressive, we have their facilitative approach. Like for example, what could be the role of a teacher inside a classroom? We serve only as a facilitator, supposedly. When you're talking a facilitator, you should be, the person in charge of neutralizing learning inside the classroom. So what is this neutralizing learning? How do you neutralize learning inside the classroom? Definitely, if questions will be, thrown or asked by a particular student or by students, then you should be ready to answer. And you have to be honest also. If you do not know how to answer the question being asked of you, so the best way actually or the best escape for that is, okay, class will research on that. That will serve as your assignment. Than telling them, answers that are not acceptable. Talking about a wrong answer. Okay. Another one in the essentialist. It is book centered and methods recommended are try to look at this no very traditional the so-called essentialists or traditional because when you're talking about essentialist from the word essential what essence okay talking about essence talking about what should be what are important to be learned memory work memorize all these facts you have to digest it's so difficult to memorize especially facts and skills. Okay, well, anyway, talking about facts, it's all right to memorize, uh, but it's easy to memorize, skills, because skills actually is just an application of what you have learned, no? Like for example, in cooking, you do not need to master or what should be first. Is it the bawang or the sibuyas or onion, garlic or the onion first? Or can it be if you're using, ginger? So that depends, or tomatoes. Okay, before putting oil or some a cup or spoons of oil, so that depends, no? If you're actually exposed to doing that every day, then you're really able to master, no, that kind of skill. But facts once memorized, just like a computer, because we human beings are actually like computers. The information that we read actually are stored in our memory. So once stored in the memory, it will not be lost. You may as well forget that for some time, but the moment that is being you're able to hear of it, that is yeah, that's it, no, I encountered that, so that actually will have it will cling into your minds. Yes, I was able to memorize that, I learned that, etc. and etc. Then, development of abstract intelligence. What do you mean by abstract intelligence? You're talking about abstract. It's something, you did not see or you're not seeing. So, it's actually applying a certain kind of common sense, no, to certain things that are happening. What are these common sense? If you know that if you climb a tree, you will fall, then you have to take care of yourself when you climb a tree. Because when you fall, what will happen? You may be cracking your bones, or that will lead you to be brought to the hospital, or worse scenario, that will cause you death. Okay, you have heard a lot of people saying, that's only common sense." So you need to actually make a good judgment of things that are okay, that are happening, or that you are seeing, or that you are experiencing. Okay, under progressive school uses life experience approach. So talking about, a lot of people are telling us, experience is the best teacher, right? So there even goes a saying that kung saan ka daw nadapa, doon ka babangon. That is very true. So if you fall one time, do not let yourself to fall again. Especially so. The falling actually is, denoting a negative incident or event, no, in one's life. Parang ganito lang yan. Yung bang nadapa ka na, syempre nasaktan ka, magpapadapa ka pa ba ulit? So you have to strive to strike back. You need to stand back, then tell the world, this is it, the person that you have humiliated. Do you know what humiliation is? Ito yung taong minamata-mata ninyo na hindi makakatapos ng pag-aaral. But I am now a graduate of Bachelor of Science, major in General Science Education, and I will pass the licensure examination. So what could be the emphasis of this? Individual spontaneity. When you're spontaneous, then actually it allows you to be, open all the time, and to be consistent of what you are talking about. Okay, you know how to solve problem, and you develop creative responsibility. Meaning to say, if you are a person of these kinds, according to progressive school, creating being that the creative responsibility would mean what? You are able to deal life, okay, very lightly, in a way that if a problem, of course, that's just like now, we are actually confronting with the problems of the pandemic. So what you can do then is accept the challenge or accept the problem, then just laugh it out. Okay? Do not be actually eaten, no, or actually disturbed by the problem that you are experiencing. Okay, another thing, measure of outcomes. How do essentially school measure outcomes? Standardized test. You know, standardized tests actually are tests that are already tested, no? That's why they are called standardized or standard tests. Okay, examples of the standardized or standard tests are the licensure examination for teachers. Now we call it ano yun, na board licensure examination for professional teachers or BLEP. Formerly, that was LET or licensure examination for teacher. But prior to that, it was known to be as the PBET or the professional board examination for teacher. Not only for teachers, we have also standard tests or examination given to engineers, right? To nurses, to medical doctors, to lawyers, what else? Other professionals that requires licensure examinations. Even if you wanted to enter into the government service, you need to also pass the civil service examination, right? The so-called sub-professional and the professional examination for you to qualify for the position or a particular position and be able to get a permanent position in the government service. Pass the civil service examination. For the progressive, measure of outcome and achievements are devices or are now devices taking into consideration subject matter and personality tests. Okay, for the progressivist, for the progressive schools, they value character development. They value, you know, values and attitudes. Knowledge can be learned, but if values, okay, are not actually, if you don't possess, kind of values that are wholesome values, talking about positive values, or the kind of personality you possess is negative, okay, you will not be, you will not be attractive no matter how beautiful or how good looking you may be. Because, at this time for the progressive school, character development or positive values or positive personality or good grooming and personality values actually or tests are very important. Okay? So if you want to be competitive, you have to develop your character. What is character? Good values, good personality, because a lot of industries now are engaged or actually prioritizing this kind of prioritize this kind of qualification, no, for professional growth and development, no. Okay. For the traditional, these are now curriculum definitions. Actually, this is just a presentation, a summary of the different definitions of what curriculum is, comparing the traditional points of view and the progressive points of view of curriculum. Okay, so just a rundown of this, definitions. So body of subjects. So you are familiar with subjects already that are being prepared by the teachers and for you students to learn. Then progressive, you have here a listing of subjects, syllabi, course of study, and list of courses or specific discipline can only be called curriculum if these are actualized by the learners. So take note of that, no? What I am teaching or I'm sharing with you is not or will not be considered as a curriculum if you are not able to learn it. Actualization means, able to learn it and apply it to your life as a particular individual. Okay? The curriculum is course study, talking about course outline. In the syllabus, if you have, the syllabus is a comprehensive presentation of the course study. The course study will refer only to the subjects Unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, under the curriculum. Then for the progressive, total learning experiences. Okay, so learning experiences, not only one aspect of us, like or not only one aspect of the students, like mental development or intellectual development, but there's also emotional development. There is also physical development. That's why you have your physical education subjects, no? From first year to second year, PE 1, 2, 3, 4. But for PE majors, a lot of PEs, no? Or activity, major subjects in physical education. So meaning to say, the development of the learner should be what? Holistic. Development of the mind, the heart, and the soul. Talking about balanced education. Okay? So another thing, curriculum for the traditional, we have permanent studies. Once learned, this is what I mentioned a while ago. If you memorize facts or skills, that's already stored in our minds or memory, no? So if there will come a time that you are able to forget it, but if you are able to encounter to hear it again, it will actually recur, no? You'll be able to, to recall everything what you have read, even the learnings that you have acquired during your basic education or elementary and high school years. For the progressive, all experiences children have under the guidance of the teacher. See, you have to respect your teacher, as I been telling this from time to time, because the teachers are there not to put you down. The teachers are there because they want to help you, or they want really to help you pass the subject, or to acquire a better learning of the topics, no, that are being shared to you. Okay, focus on the fundamental intellectual disciplines of grammar, literature and writing, math, science, history, and foreign language. But for the progressive, classroom experiences planned and enacted by the teacher and learned by you as the students. Okay, discipline is the sole source of curriculum. Okay, the discipline that is being referred to here, no, in the traditional points of view, is talking about how to discipline learners, no, to be refined, or to exhibit or to manifest a good behavior. Then for the progressive, sequence of potential experiences. So okay, this is repeated. As I mentioned, this is just, a tabular presentation of the different definitions of what curriculum is. Okay. Okay, entirely of knowledge. That's actually consists of also knowledge which comes from various disciplines. The various disciplines being referred to here are the different subjects. For the progressive points of view, experiences in the classroom, plan and enacted by the teacher, also learned by the students. So naulit ata ito. Okay, we'll now move on to the concepts or definition of a curriculum according to the traditionalists, talking about the summary or the synthesis of what they are talking about. Is a document that actually describes a structured series of learning objectives and outcomes for a given subject matter and area, and includes a specification of what should be learned. Okay, what should be learned, referring to you, no, as to how you're going to learn the subject. No, you have your own styles. You have your own, learning styles, by the way. Okay, how it should be taught. This is not the role rather of the teacher, talking about application of the different strategies, approaches, and methods of teaching, and the plan for implementing or assessing the learning. When you're talking about the plan for implementing and or assessing the learning, talking about how you will be evaluated. So take note of that. If you're a teacher really cannot evaluate a particular learner, or cannot actually ask a question to learners if she or he wants to evaluate or to find out if there is learning, if she or he was not able to teach the concepts. Okay, so for the progressivist, curriculum as the total effort of the school. This is what I'm trying to point out, no, a while ago, talking about the efforts, diba? These are actually the total experiences set up by the school, okay, to bring about the desired outcomes in school and out of school institutions. So what will be desired outcomes? In EUST, you have your five, or we have our five core values, right? We have N for nationalism, E for excellence, U for unity, S for spirituality, and letter T for transparency. So it means to say, when you will graduate from the university, you should be a nationalist. You should, serve your country. Do not look into possibilities of going abroad first, immediately after graduation. There's always what we say, it's payback time. So you have to serve the country first, our own country first, before serving other countries. Okay? Excel, excellence. Not talking about how you're able to, to bring out the best in you when you are out of the university already. That's why it's very, it's very challenging, no? Because when you graduate from the university, you have to bring with you the kinds of values that are being taught to you, and you are expected also to show that to the general public. Okay, the five values, the so-called NAUST: nationalism, excellence, unity, spirituality, and transparency. Okay, so these are terms that you need to be familiar with as we go along the process of studying. Curriculum planning is progressive, so it's a process. Okay, process of making plans or learning opportunities. The curriculum plan is the advanced arrangement of learning opportunities. Like, for example, what we are doing now, I prepare this presentation for you, or to guide each one of you, and learn whatever I am sharing with you now. Another is guide, is a curriculum plan, talking about the document itself. Then the laboratory, the place or workshop where materials are gathered or used by teachers or learners of a curriculum. Example of this is the classroom. Then the different laboratories like science laboratories, physics lab, biolab, chemistry lab, computer lab, even museums are part of the curriculum laboratory. And of course the library, no? The canteen is also one of the laboratory for the TLE, majors, because they should be exposed to, managing a particular, restaurant or a canteen or a food court. Okay. Resource unit, collection of our suggested learning activities that actually supports learning, like books. Okay. You have also audiovisual materials, no, that the teachers prepared. Then even internet now can be considered as part of the, resource unit, because when you are planning or developing and evaluating a learning unit, you need to consider what resources are available, no, in your environment or in your surroundings. You cannot make a plan, and yet the plan, or I mean, learning potentialities or activities that you are planning to be experienced or to be accomplished by the learners are not available in their surroundings, so it's so difficult. So when you're planning or developing or evaluating a learning unit, you have to see to it that the resources are available, or you have to see to it that, the learners or the students will be able to get those resources. Otherwise, they will not be able to accomplish what you want them to accomplish. Okay. So another here is curriculum development. Okay, just like in lesson planning, process of selecting, organizing, executing, evaluating learning experiences, and the basis of what? Okay, there are four, bases. Needs. So you develop a curriculum based on the needs, based on the interests, based on the abilities, and one thing more is nature of society or community. So this is what I'm trying to point out a while ago. If you are giving assignments or tasks to your learners, see to it that the resource, yeah, the resources can be readily available. Talking about indigenization or localization of the resources. Okay, talking about nature of the society or community. Like for example, no, you are teaching a particular concept like fruits, but you gave examples about the fruits that you are giving. The examples that you are given are actually okay. You're talking about poncan, you're talking about apples, you're talking about grapes. When in fact, all those fruits mentioned are not cultivated or planted in the Philippines. Those are abroad. So learners may find it difficult to look for those, no? Especially so if the community is remote, meaning to say far from the municipality or from the town or from the city. Okay, so curriculum development also must be purposeful, planned, and progressive. This is what I'm trying to point out a while ago when we were talking about a curriculum's origin, talking about uh, Latin word correre, which means to run. So it's actually evolving from time to time. It keeps on changing. Okay, say for example, okay, the learnings, no, that I have acquired in my 4 years of study in college, that was from 1983 to 1987, actually are no longer applicable to the present times. If I'm going to share with you what I have learned 30 or 40 years ago, no, from my college life, definitely, it will not fit into your present situation because you are now the 21st century learners. I am a digital. I am an immigrant in the use of technology, and you are native. Okay, you are digital native in terms of the use of technology. Okay, there are 7 types of curriculum operating schools, but there are 10 which I'm going to present. One here we have. Okay, proposed by scholars and professional organizations. It may be coming from a national agency or any professional org who has stake in education. So we have national agencies concerning about formulating or creating a curriculum like those in DepEd or Department of Education for the basic ed. That includes senior high school. Then we have also in college, we have a tertiary level. We have the Commission on Higher Education together with, college and graduate school. Okay. For those levels, we have the CHED, okay, college and grad school. Then we also have for the Skills Development Authority or TESDA, Technical Education Skills and Development Authority. So these three main branches or national agencies actually are in charge of coming up or formulating a kind of curriculum to try to recommend because they believe that this curriculum already tested and would actually provide lots of information or the necessary information to the learner, so they have to recommend this. Okay, that's why we also have the K to 12 now. That was 2015, no, implemented in 2015. Then we also have the VOCTEC, or vocational and technical education, to cater the students who will not be able to pursue the academic or the gas or the STEM or the ABM strands, no? And they have written curriculum. It includes documents, course of study, syllabi for implementation, made by curriculum experts. Well, definitely, it cannot be done without the support of or participation of teachers. From the word written, nakasulat yan. Nababasa natin. Just like the modules that you will be receiving or that you have received already, some of it are actually part of the written curriculum. Okay, taught curriculum. These are actually taught in classrooms. Who taught you? Teachers. Okay, these are the different subjects. Okay, science, math, English, etc. and etc. We have also supported curriculum. This supported curriculum actually serve only as an aid in teaching. Just like, okay, we have the textbooks, you have the computers, you have the audiovisual materials, you have the laboratory equipment, the playgrounds, zoos, and other facilities. They support and help in the implementation of the curriculum. Assess curriculum, tested or evaluated curriculum. Okay, series of evaluations are being done by the teachers at the duration and end of the teaching episodes to determine the extent of teaching or to tell if the students are progressing. That's why you are given quizzes. That's why you are given, periodic examinations. That's why you are asked after the discussion any questions, class. That is to assess or to find out if you have learned something. Okay? Then you have also learned curriculum. If we have the taught curriculum, that's actually or responsibly, effectively, and efficiently done by the teacher. We have also the learned curriculum. So the learned curriculum are those things that are learned by you, okay, as learners, indicated by the results of tests and changes in behavior, which can be either cognitive, talking about development of the minds, affective, development of the heart or emotions or feelings, or psychomotor, your ability to manipulate. These are the three domains, right, of teaching. You have cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor domains. In other words, these are what you have actually learned inside the classroom that is being measured by the teacher. Then hidden curriculum, values integration. Somehow you're able to imitate or to role model, or actually to model rather, the values being taught to you or shared by you or to you by your teachers. Eventually, it's not actually part of the curriculum. We do not teach you to become better, but through the sharing or through the presenting rather a lot of ideas about this and that. Okay, whether you are not acquiring that at the moment, but after your graduation, you're able to act on it. Okay, personally or somehow you're able to show that also to the general public. Okay, that is part of the hidden curriculum. Like for example, no, the idea of being generous. Say for example, the value of generosity. If you have experienced that your teacher is so generous by providing you, say for example, free modules, then free load or free meal, eventually when you become teacher, you will also do the same, right? That's actually passing on the kind of positive experience that you have had with your previous teachers. On the other way around, okay? On the other way around, or in contrast of what I'm saying, if the experiences are negative, somehow that would also manifest in you. You will also show negative, behavior, or you will also treat your students negatively, as was your experience when you were a student. Okay, so this actually would include, as I mentioned, value integration or values integration. Concomitant curriculum. These are actually, learnings that we get from the church in the context of what? Religious expression. Well, anyway, religion is not an issue for all of us. No, what kind of religion you may be, Iglesia, Catholic, Roman Catholic, born again, whatever is it. No, no problem about that. What is important is we are practicing this kind of expression, religious expression, by actually respecting or believing that there is someone, no, up above, okay, who guide us, all of us, or who actually protected us from all these dangers and harm. Okay, lessons on values, ethics or morals, molded behaviors, or social experiences based on a family's preferences. Okay, in the family, di ba, we're being taught about the GMRC, or the good manners and right conduct, right? So these kinds of values, no, that's being taught to us by our family members, we're able to show this or manifest also to the society or community, and we are actually more developed when we go to church, okay, to remind us of what should be shown, what should be shared to the people, or the kind of behavior that we should manifest, no, to different kinds of people. Number 9, we have phantom curriculum. These are actually messages prevalent in and through exposure to any type of media. Okay? We're exposed to a lot of media. You have Twitter, you have, Facebook, you have Messenger, you have Tumblr, you have, what else? WeChat, you have Skype. Okay? What other means? There are thousands of, media platforms actually that we are exposed to. And do you know that all these exposures will also affect our behavior? Okay? Say for example, no, when you are harsh, it's because you're exposed to viewing, or if you're playing actually, viewing a lot of movies or shows that are actually also brutal, or if you are engaged into playing the ML, or what's this ML? Mobile Legends. Okay, it's actually more on, you know, uh, uh, strategizing or making a decision of what to do. That also help or actually develop our ability or capability of decision making, right? And that's good. So if you're good in Mobile Legends, then definitely you're also good in decision making, because there's a part there of strategizing what kind of strategy you're going to use to combat or to fight or to actually defeat your opponent, no? Okay. And then the last but not the least, we have the null curriculum. These are actually curriculum or topics that are supposed to be taught, but unknowingly your teachers did not include or ignore some content of this because based on his or her own judgment, it is no longer important, or it's already unimportant. That's why they try to ignore it. Okay. So in every subject, there is what we mean of the so-called minimum learning standards, or ano tawag nito, desired learning competencies that you have to learn. We also have the so-called beyond standards, or talking about you do not settle for just basic, but the teacher actually provide more learning or experiences, no, to his or her students. Okay, so that ends our topic for today. I'm going to